it's Rem. I'm going to be rounding out our Witch Queen Day 1 build guides today with the Hunter. The main focus is going to be on survivability and crowd control, as Hunters don't have as many tools to defend themselves as some of the other classes. These builds, as well as some techniques, should give you a better chance of staying alive in the Day 1 raid, as well as other high-end content. Let's get started. I'm going to begin with Stasis, as I think this is the strongest of the builds I will be showing. This is most likely what I'll be using for the majority of content, unless Void 3.0 brings some major changes. I'm using Dustfield Grenade, Grim Harvest, Touch of Winter. For aspects, I don't think there's any current replacements for these two, as they are the strongest in my opinion. For fragments, I'm using Whisper of Conduction, Whisper of Durance, Whisper of Shards, Whisper of Chains, and Whisper of Rhyme. These all synergize very well together and provide you a lot of survivability and crowd control. Some honorable mentions would be Whisper of Bonds and Whisper of Torment. For all my armor builds, I use D2 Armor Picker. This is great for optimizing wasted stats and getting the best stat distribution for your build. For stat distribution, I prioritize recovery the most. This allows you to stay in the fight longer as you spend less time hiding to get your health back. Some resilience is recommended to avoid getting one hit by snipers or other attacks. I've been known to run 1 to 3 resilience in the past, but even I don't think that's a good idea for Day 1. Discipline is very important for this build, as getting your grenade back faster lets you provide more crowd control and allows you to proc your other effects like elemental shards. Mobility gives you an edge in movement to avoid damage, as we don't have a rift or barricade to keep us alive. I main Hunter almost exclusively. If you can't reach the stats I have, that's okay. I'll be showing some mods to offset this. Armor mods can be arranged however you would like, so if the affinity on your gear is different, feel free to switch things around. So on my helmet, I'm using Power Preservation. With super cooldowns increased across the board, generating additional orbs for your allies is going to be helpful. Ammo finders are not required, but with the new ammo economy, it's nice to have. Elemental Shards is a key mod, which gives you energy to your abilities like a well, and synergizes with the next mod I'm about to show you. Elemental Charge makes you charge with light when you pick up an elemental well. Since the shards we collect count as stasis wells, thanks to elemental shards, you get 2 stacks of charge with light. The other slots can be filled with champion or artifact mods. If you don't have as much discipline as you would like, in Stasis Gauntlets you can use a mod called Grenade Kickstarter. This can help you boost your grenade recharge rate by giving you 15% of your grenade back per mod when you throw your grenade. For the chest piece, I'm using Font of Wisdom. This gives you 100 intellect for 30 seconds when you pick up an elemental well, which means you don't need as many points in intellect and can focus stats elsewhere. You're going to want damage resistance in your gear. Recommend 1 sniper resist and 1 concussive dampener. You can also run double concussive if there isn't too many snipers to worry about. For the legs, Protective Light has been shown in the other guides, but I'll mention it again because of how useful it is in keeping you alive. It gives a lot of damage resistance when your shields break, allowing you to escape a tight situation and get you to cover so you can regen. Since my boots are void to use Protective Light, I use Better Already, which starts health regen when picking up an orb of power. Solar boots can use recuperation, which gives you a bit of health instantly when picking up an orb. This is a nice little burst to keep you alive just that little bit longer. If you have room for scavengers in your boots, it's a good choice as you get extra ammo when picking up an ammo brick. For my class item, currently I'm using artifact mods for this build, but these will change with the new season. Staple for increasing your grenade recharge rate if you don't have the discipline you want is using Bomber. Because Hunters with high mobility get your dodge back very quickly, you can proc double Bomber or single Bomber if you don't have the room very often and get your grenade back. As you can see, from all aspects of the build I have shown, survivability is the most important thing. Stacking and maintaining as many forms of damage resistance as well as staying mobile is key to not being that dead hunter that everyone looks at and wonders, why haven't you switched to Warlock yet? Yeah, I don't have the answer for that one. Just to emphasize how much damage resistance we are getting, I'll go over everything stacking. First, the sniper resistance and concussive dampener are applied all the time. Our dust field is used to stop enemies from shooting at us and applying slow, eventually freezing targets. While the crystal from this shard exists, we are given resist times 1, which is 12.5% damage resistance. Every time we kill a slowed or frozen target, the stasis shard is pulled to us. We then get charged with light and we get a chunk of health back, or an overshield if our health is full. If our shield breaks, we also gain resist times 4, which is 50% damage resistance. This stacks with a nearby crystal, and it goes up to 62.5% damage reduction. Picking up an orb of power lets us immediately regenerate health. Note that this effect is stopped if we take damage. Finally, breaking the crystal will give a lot of our grenade back. This combined with Grenade Kickstart and Bomber will almost always get your grenade back before the Duskfield effect ends. All these effects combined give you an insane amount of survivability, as well as being able to freeze a section of the map almost indefinitely. For your exotic of choice, there aren't a lot of options. I will go over some general exotics that aren't subclass specific. For any subclass, I prefer Aeons. This provides various team buffs based on which Aeon Cult mod you choose. Sect of Vigor provides a burst heal to your team members within 30 meters when casting your super. Sect of Insight provides ammo for your team when performing finishers. special ammo for orange bars, and heavy ammo for yellow bars and champions. This extra ammo can help you ad clear more effectively, or make sure you're topped off for the next DPS phase. Selective Force provides grenade and melee energy to nearby teammates when you stun champions. These gloves provide additional benefits to other members wearing Aeons as well. If there aren't any champions in the encounter, I would use Selective Vigor for the heal. Wormhusk gives you some health back when dodging, an overall good survivability exotic. The higher your mobility is, the more chance you will get to utilize this. Frosties recharge your abilities faster when sprinting, as well as increase your sprint speed after dodging. I don't like them as in order to get the benefit from the exotic, you have to be doing not anything particularly useful. However, it is still very good and should be considered. Artiface Armor is a perk on the new armor from the Grasp of Avarice dungeon on Master difficulty. This is not mandatory for the build, but does give you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to modding your gear. So here you're able to use an additional artifact mod in the final column, which allows me to use things such as double hands-on. I'll go over a few other pieces that I'm using in my new build, just to show you what you could do. I was lucky enough to get a full set of new Twisted Echo gear on Master, while using Aeons, which is my preferred exotic for this build. I'll go over exotics in the later part of the video. Starting with the helmet, like I showed earlier, I'm using double hands-on. This provides bonus super energy on melee kills. The Shuriken on hunters is very strong, so this lets you get a little bit more super energy back. My Aeons don't have it, but in this build I'm using Grenade Kickstarter just because I want that extra grenade regen. Currently there is no artifact mod for the chest piece, keeping my armor piece as the Twisted Echo just in case there is something new for the upcoming season. As the boots, I'm able to use the Fusion Scavenger from the artifact mod, and allows me to use Insulation as well as Battle Already. For the class item, I am able to use the Double Bomber, and now I can use an artifact mod as well. For right now I'm using Thermoclastic Strike, which lets me stun overload champions with my melee attack. Like I said, that armor set is not required, it just lets you add a little bit more tweaking to your build. With Void 3.0 around the corner, there are many things that will change, so I have not solidified my builds for these. I'll mention a few key reasons for why you'd want to use Void over the other subclasses. The main benefit that Void Hunter provides currently is from Top Tree. The super gives a 30% debuff to anything tethered by the super. This is most likely going to be essential for boss DPS on day 1. Invisibility is another tool Void provides to help you stay alive. Top Tree provides invis to yourself when dodging, and Bottom Tree provides invisibility to any ally hit by the Smoke Bomb melee ability. Again, with Void 3.0, they may be able to choose which abilities we want, which will open up some more options, but we'll have to wait and see. If survivability is an issue, invisibility may be a useful tool to keep yourself alive, or reviving an ally that got caught out of position. Everyone makes mistakes, and I find Void Hunter is very good at helping the team recover from them. Without Stasis Shards giving you Charge with Light, there are two options, as you still want to be benefiting from the damage resistance Protective Light provides. One option is to use Taking Charge. This provides a stack of Charge with Light when you pick up an Orb of Power. You'll have to wait and see the changes to Orb generation to see how easy this one is to maintain. Another option is to use Elemental Charge with a Well mod. This requires more synergy and planning to be effective to maintain Charge with Light, as without Stasis Shards it will be a lot harder to generate them. Some options are Elemental Ordnance, as with Void you're able to throw a lot of grenades. For Void, Omnioculus has been a staple for Void Hunters since its release. It gives a second smoke bomb charge as well as damage resistance to your allies, all invisible. Making allies invisible gives 50% melee energy back per ally smoked. This synergizes very well with the bottom tree abilities and can give you infinite grenades and smoke bombs. This does take a lot of managing to get the full effect from this, but is very handy and can get your team out of danger in a tight situation. 6 Coyote gives an additional dodge charge. This may be nice to avoid damage or to give you an additional charge of your dodge invisibility. Graviton Forfeit gives additional duration on invisibility. Like Frosties, you can't do anything other than cower in the darkness to get the benefit from this exotic. This does give you other buffs while invisible, so if you don't have 10 recovery, this can help you get back in the fight faster. Solar has a lot less survivability than the other two subclasses, but it does provide some good damage. Bottom Tree Golden Gun and Blade Barrage both provide very good burst damage. Void will overall give more team damage, but if your team has more than one hunter and needs that little bit more to clear an encounter, these are some viable picks. For Solar, although overshadowed by the Titan Thunder Crash, Celestial Nighthawk is the main reason to use this subclass. This exotic is pretty self-explanatory, it really only has one use, and that's boss DPS. I pair them with Wormhusks as doing a quick helmet swap before a DPS phase is manageable. Shards of Galwanar gives you super energy back on Blade Barrage hits and kills. This turned out to be very strong on Atheon due to the super recharge, so this is potentially an option. Next up is Arc. Just kidding, Spinny Boys for the memes, so please do not use this in your day 1 teams, since you actually need to, which I don't think you will. So instead, let's talk about some techniques to help you stay alive. First off is the jump. I prefer Strafe Jump as it can halt the momentum if you get booped off the map and keep you from falling to your death. It can also increase your momentum and make you that much harder to hit. It is something to note that triple jump does go farther though, so if you need that extra distance, feel free to swap to this one. Jumping can help you get to cover faster and avoid some damage from concussive shots if they hit the ground underneath you. Next is strafing. Although all classes should utilize this, hunters having high mobility will strafe faster, allowing you to dodge more incoming fire while in a gunfight or when reviving a teammate. Remember to use all the movement at your disposal. I'm excited to see the changes that Witch Queen and Void 3.0 bring to the table. I hope this information helped. Feel free to tweak anything I mentioned to your preference, and ask me any questions if you have any.